Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Christian Apologist podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing the number one topic that has been going around, and that is the COVID vaccine. And is it safe to take? And is it the mark of the beast? So let's just dive right in. So ever since the COVID's been coming out, people have been talking about if it's fake, if it's a hoax, not wearing a mask, wearing a mask. These have just been the questions on everybody's mind, not only in America, but just around the world, honestly. And my wife is a nurse, and she also has a bachelor's degree in human services, and she has been on the front line since the beginning of this whole pandemic. And let me start off by telling everybody that first, it is real. I've had family members that have had it. She has had patients die from it. I've had plenty of work people that I know personally that have gotten it, and so it is real. It's not a hoax. It's not fake. The mask do help. Is it 100% proof? No, it is not, but it does help. I'm not going to tell you to wear one or not to wear one. Do your own thing. I mean, that's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you one way or the other. Do your own thing. They do help. Now the COVID vaccine is coming out, and we start hearing, oh, it's the mark of the beast. It's a mark of the beast. Oh, it's changing people's DNA, and that's a mark of the beast. But let me explain some things real quick. So the COVID shot is not changing your DNA. It does contain mRNA in it. That's messenger RNA. Now, what it does is it attaches to the outside of your DNA cell. So when your DNA cell replicates, it'll also replicate with that mRNA attached to it, preventing you or helping to prevent you from to get the coronavirus. It does not in any way penetrate into your DNA cell, actually changing your DNA. I just want to make that very clear. It does not change your DNA. And yes, I do get on YouTube quite a bit, honestly, and I have seen the videos of people getting the shot and passing out. Now, the reason people are passing out, it's not because of what's in the shot, it's because of the temperature of the shot. So the temperature of these shots, they are keeping at approximately negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've had a lot of shots in my life. I was in the military, and I take shots daily. I'm a diabetic as well. And there have been, when I was especially in the military, and there's been some shots I've gotten since the military that I've taken it. And, 15 minutes later, I felt a little woozy. Now, I never passed out because of it. I never threw up because of them, but it did make me feel a little woozy. So, nobody ever questions those shots, but this shot is negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I mean, most human bodies are around 98 degrees Fahrenheit. And so when your body's being injected with something that is negative 100 degrees, yes, your body will tend to kind of flip out because it's trying to rapidly warm down that shot. That's why we get goosebumps. See, when the temperature of your blood is different from the temperature of your skin, like if your skin gets too cold, then you get goosebumps because it pretty much raises your skin up off of your blood vessels so your blood will stay at a constant temperature and it raises your skin up. So it's just another way of your body trying to defend itself with getting a shot at negative 100 degrees. Now, as far as it being the mark of the beast, this is probably not going to be a very long podcast, to tell you the truth, because there's really not a whole lot we can say about it. But I am going to give you some insight, and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts, and you can take with it what you will. But let's read Revelation 13, 16 through 18. This is what it says. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. So that is where most people draw most of their conclusions. That's where I've seen a lot of preachers here lately, especially some of the bigger preachers with the big mega churches on YouTube. And a lot of them are telling people not to take the COVID shot because it is the mark of the beast. I will be the first to tell you, I might not be the first, but I'm definitely going to make it very clear. This is not the mark of the beast. Now, how do I know that? Because nowhere does it indicate that the mark of the beast will be any type of a medical procedure of any kind. Nowhere in the Bible does it say this. So when people are indicating that this shot is the mark of the beast, they are putting in their own thoughts into what they think the Bible says. And let me tell you, 99% of the time, if you are trying to translate the Bible into something that you think it's going to say, then you're probably wrong. These preachers are wrong. The people that are thinking that this is the mark of the beast, that is wrong. The mark isn't going to be a physical mark. How do I know that? Because it also talks about the people that are going to be saved will have a mark. It also says that in Revelations that Jesus will have a name written on his thigh. Now, do I believe that Jesus will technically have a name written on his thigh? No. But see, when John was writing the book of Revelation, he was using first century words to try to describe things in a 21st century world. There are things that didn't exist then, and he didn't know how to explain it other than how he knew and with what words he knew how to explain it. The mark can't be a physical mark. Now, here's why I say that. Because whatever the mark is, it cannot be removed. So, for instance, I know for a long time they were saying, oh, it's going to be a tattoo of a barcode. Well, how is that possible if tattoos can be removed? It's something that can't be removed. And then for a long time, they were like, oh, it's going to be this RFID chip. Well, the RFID chip can be removed from your wrist or your hand or wherever it is they put it. So that can't be it. This has got to be something that can't be removed. Also, the mark of the beast is not going to be something that is going to be tricked on us. We are going to be very made aware of what we are doing, what we are choosing, and why we are choosing it. God is a loving God. God is a just God. And if you believe that, then you have to believe that God is not going to allow his people to be tricked or fooled into eternal damnation. He's not going to allow that. Now, I'm not claiming that anyone should run off and go get the COVID vaccine. That's for each of you to decide. I'm just saying if you're not going to take the COVID vaccine, let it be for the right reasons and not that you think it's because it's the mark of the beast. Now, I'm going to explain to you what the mark of the beast is from all my studies, from my theology classes, from my research. I'm going to explain what I believe the mark of the beast is. So if we look at Revelation 13:18 again, it tells us that the mark of the beast is going to be the number of a man, and that number is 666. Now, what I'm about to say is going to be a very hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. Trust me, when this came to insight for me, I didn't want to accept it at first because I've always been told that 666, that's evil, that's evil, that's evil, that's evil. I mean, look at all the movies. I mean, it's evil. It's just everywhere you look, 666, that's evil. I mean, even to this day, if I go to a register and it comes up to 666, I'm buying a piece of gum because it's just superstitious to me, I mean, I don't want to have 666. Okay, so like I was saying before, the mark is going to be a spiritual mark. It's not going to be a physical mark. In Revelation 7:3, it says that the mark for God will be on the forehead of those that are saved. And in Revelation 13:16-18, it tells us that the mark will be on the forehead or the right hand, and it will be the number of the beast, the number of a man, 666. Now, the hard pill for everybody to swallow is this. If you are a human being, and if you are not Jesus Christ, the Son of God, then your number is 666. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say a lot of things about that, but let me explain myself. 777 is perfect and holy, and only God is perfect and holy. So if God's number, which is perfection, which is 777, then anything less than holy and perfect, your number is 666. We are not perfect. We are not holy. We are less than 777. Our number, and in Revelation 13:18, it says it is the number of man. So all of mankind is 666. I believe a lot of people are being deceived and looking for this mark of the beast, and that they're not even focusing on Jesus Christ coming back. Like, we do not need to be focusing on and looking for this mark. We need to be looking for Jesus coming back, not for the mark. The mark's already here. It has been here. Now, where does the mark come into play? Here's where I think it comes into play. It's going to come into play because I think when the time comes and the Antichrist is here. Now, do not quote me on this. I am not saying this is exactly how it's going to happen. I am not saying that it's anywhere in the Bible. This is how it says it's going to happen. I'm just giving you an example to give you an illustration so you can see what I am talking about. So when the Antichrist shows up and basically makes himself known, probably not as the Antichrist, but he's going to make himself known. A time, I believe, is going to come where people are going to ask, if you worship this person, we'll just call him the Antichrist. Well, do you worship the Antichrist? But they're not going to call him the Antichrist. They'll give him a name like Bill, or John, whatever. And if you say yes, then you just pledged allegiance to the Antichrist with your mind, and you spoke it with your mouth, and that can never be taken back. That can't be taken away. Once things are spoken into existence, because in the Bible it tells us that when the word of God goes out, it does not come back empty-handed. So it tells you that when things come out of your mouth, they do not go away. They are there forever. So either you are going to claim that you worship the Antichrist, or it says it's going to be on your right hand, which right hand, it doesn't necessarily mean the right hand. It's just talking about that the right hand is in the Bible stands for power. So it could be left-handed as well. But it's either you're going to worship him with your mouth and your mind, or you are going to do something for the Antichrist to show your devotion. And once you do something, for instance, if somebody goes and steals something, when somebody goes out and steals something, they can give it back once they realize, they made a mistake. But the action has already been done. You might be able to try to fix the problem, but it doesn't stop the fact that you stole it. So even if you stole something one time in your whole life, and 10 minutes after you walked out that 7-Eleven door and you went back and gave it back to them, maybe nobody knows about it, maybe they do, but you are a thief. You stole something. You can give it back. You can make restitution for what you have done, but you can't take back what you have done. And so that, I believe, is what the Antichrist and what the mark of the beast is going to be. I believe everything else, this whole, it's barcodes, it's tattoos, it's RFID chip, it's this vaccine. I believe it is all just distractions that the devil puts on earth, so that way we are not paying attention to what is really going on. The Antichrist, the devil, he's one of the greatest magicians ever, and probably is the greatest magician ever. Now, why is that? Because what he does is he does the exact same thing magicians do. Magicians, magic trick, illusionist. I'm not talking about witchcraft. I'm talking about illusionist, people that just do tricks. They distract you And while you're looking at the distraction, they're doing the trick behind your back. And that is exactly what the devil has been doing since the beginning of time. He distracts us with his hand, but with his other hand, we're not paying attention to it, and he's really doing the trick right behind us, and we don't even notice it until it's too late and the trick has already been done. And that is exactly what the devil's doing. Now, me and my wife were talking, and we were talking about everything that's going on, and we were talking about the COVID vaccine, and I think now they're talking about possibly that you can't leave the country or you can't come into the country unless you have a card that says that you've had the COVID shot. And we were talking about that, and we were talking about the mark of the beast. And like I told her, know for a fact the COVID vaccine is not the mark of the beast. It is not biblical. It is not scriptural. And nowhere in the Bible does it even point to anything remotely like that. But I do firmly believe that it is the devil's way of preparing us for the mark of the beast. That I strongly do believe, because the more we get into Revelation and we look at the world going on, the devil isn't stupid. He's not going to come out and be like, I'm the Antichrist, come worship me, or go steal or kill for me to prove your loyalty. He's not going to do that. It is going to be like an illusion. He is going to paint an illusion. We're not going to realize, well, unless you pay attention to the Bible, a lot of people are going to be deceived by this. And I do believe the devil is using what we're doing now to get to where he needs his Antichrist to be. He is just preparing us. He's shaping the world to be ready to take this mark. And most people are not even going to blink an eye. And I say most people, and I'm not talking about you individually, I'm talking about most people, because the Bible tells us that the road to hell is wide and many will go, and the gate to heaven is narrow and few will make it. So I'm just going off of what Scripture tells me. Guys, we're going to take a quick break real quick to give a shout out to our sponsor. Stay tuned for the second half. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Hey, welcome back everybody to the Christian Apologist podcast. Today we're talking about the COVID vaccine and the mark of the beast, and if this is something you should be worried about. So to pick up where we left off, guys, this isn't the first virus that has ever came out, the world has had to deal with. I mean, the Spanish flu, the measles. I mean, all these things came out and vaccines were given. And I'm sure there were people in those times that thought that it was the mark of the beast. But it isn't. I understand that pretty much most of people's lives, they've been told to be looking for this mark of the beast, and it's going to be 666. And it'll be a mark that's physically on your forehead or on your right hand. But nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about it physically being there, for one. And two, you really have to study the Bible to understand what is being said. And I'm not saying just study it in the English version, if that's what you read out of, or the Spanish version, but you have to read it for the original text. Like, most of the New Testament was written in Greek. The Old Testament was written in mainly Hebrew, some Aramaic, but you have to study the original scriptures, because if not, you will be deceived and you will not know, exactly what it is saying. Like, you just have to study it. I mean, you have to understand, what they were saying. You have to understand who they were saying it to. You have to understand when they were saying it, how they were saying it. And you have to look up words that were in the original Bible, whether it be Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic. And you have to read those words, because a lot of words in Greek and Hebrew and other languages mean different things over here in English or in Spanish or in any other language, but they will have different meanings. So you have to understand, and you have to read the Bible to fully get what God is trying to relate to you. Now, there are, what I mentioned at the beginning, was a lot of preachers out there that have been preaching and telling people that this is the mark of the beast and not to get it. And all I can say is shame on you, on all the preachers and on all these people that are claiming that this is the mark of the beast and telling people not to get it. Shame on you. You should be extremely shameful of yourself. And honestly, if you are a preacher, you shouldn't be preaching. If you're teaching it, you shouldn't be teaching this. I am not going to tell you to go get the COVID vaccine, and I'm not going to tell you not to go get the COVID vaccine. The only thing I'm trying to get you to understand and what I'm trying to relay is that the COVID vaccine is not 120,000% positive, is not the mark of the beast. It is not scriptural. It's not biblical. And if anyone claims it is, then I'd really like for them to comment somewhere, send me an email at richard@thechristianapologist.org. Send me an email and let's talk about this on the air. Let's talk about this because I guarantee you will not find it anywhere. You will not find anywhere that this is going to be a physical mark. It will not be. Anything physical can be taken care of. If I put a mark, let's say they claim it's the RFID chip, and if I get this mark and I grab it and I have them injected into my right hand, I can cut my hand off, people. So then what? I don't have the mark no more. It's going to be something that you can't take back. But instead of concentrating on what the mark of the beast is, where the mark of the beast is, when the mark of the beast is going to be showing up, just be looking for Jesus in the sky. The Bible says he's going to come back on a horse in the clouds with an army of people. Be looking for that. Don't worry about the mark. I promise you, you will know if you are taking the mark of the beast. You will definitely, for sure, know. Because God is not going to allow us to be tricked into something. He's not going to be like, well, I'm going to send y'all to hell for eternity because you are tricked into taking a shot for your health. That is not how this is going to work. But guys, like I said, if you want to take it, if you don't want to take it, that's your business. That's up to you, whatever you choose to do. But do not take the vaccine thinking that it's the mark of the beast because somebody told you this, you watched a video on this, you heard a podcast about this, a friend told you this, a preacher told you this, a priest told you this. When they do mention this, ask them to show you proof of it. That's all you got to do. Have them show you biblical, scriptural proof that it is the mark of the beast. And I promise you, they can't do it. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy. Until next week, God bless.